Right now, roughly 400 million people are being fed by grain grown with water that will simply not exist in a few years. We are living inside a global food bubble. Our current agricultural surplus is a short-term illusion, created by pumping underground water far faster than nature can ever replace it. Environmental analyst Lester R. Brown argued that our economic models are built on a structural blind spot. They assume the economy functions independently of the Earth's natural systems. When we ignore these ecological limits, we deplete the natural capital our economy relies on. In the long run, eroding these support systems leads to a resource decline that overwhelms our capacity for progress, starting with the food we eat. For most of human history, the primary limit on food production was the supply of land. Today, the most formidable barrier is the supply of water. While a person might drink 4 quarts of water a day, it takes roughly 2,000 quarts of water to produce the food that same person consumes in a single day. To meet that demand, agriculture uses high-powered pumps to extract groundwater. We are draining aquifers that took millennia to accumulate in just decades. This depletion is most severe in the leading food-producing regions, the North China Plain, India's Punjab, and the U.S. Southern Great Plains. When these ancient aquifers are exhausted, the pumps go silent, irrigation stops, and productive cropland is forced back into dryland farming or abandoned entirely. Aquifer overpumping is an ecological Ponzi scheme. We inflate today's harvests by stealing water from the next generation, ensuring a future production collapse. As water vanishes, a second mathematical threat emerges: the rising heat from our fossil fuel economy. This graph shows the historical relationship between temperature and grain yields. So for every 1 degree Celsius rise above the growing season norm, the yield of staples like wheat, rice, and corn drops by roughly 10%. Higher temperatures also threaten our reservoirs in the sky. These are the mountain glaciers that store water as ice and release it gradually to sustain major rivers during the dry season. As the world gets hotter, these glaciers are melting away. This creates a cycle of flooding in the rainy season and dry riverbeds when the crops actually need the water most. Burning fossil fuels undermines the 2 pillars of food security. It stunts the growth of the crops with heat stress, while simultaneously evaporating the river systems we need for irrigation. To save the food supply, we must restructure the world energy economy. This transition is moving toward an eco-economy, one where the principles of ecology establish the framework for economic policy. This shift is being driven by the market. In many regions, the cost of generating electricity from wind and solar has fallen well below the cost of burning coal or gas. This creates stranded assets, fossil fuel infrastructure that is rapidly becoming economically worthless. As renewable technology improves, oil fields and coal mines are being abandoned as they lose their ability to compete. Across the globe, the carbon-heavy energy infrastructure of the 20th century is being physically dismantled. Scores of coal plants have already closed, replaced by a combination of efficiency gains and clean energy. The old energy model has become a financial sinkhole. It is leaving behind a legacy of massive facilities that hold zero future value in a market that now demands carbon-free power. Replacing those obsolete assets is a new wave of renewable infrastructure. Offshore wind farms are now generating massive amounts of power, scaling up in a way that old coal or nuclear units never could. Thousands of utility-scale solar projects are now capturing market share from traditional utilities. In the U.S. Southwest and beyond, the number of solar installations is growing exponentially. You can accelerate this transition through divestment. Moving money out of traditional pension and 401k holdings in fossil fuels starves a dying industry of capital. That same investment then funds the eco-economy, building the high-speed rail and clean grids we need to survive. We are in a race between natural tipping points and economic ones. Aligning our financial capital with the eco-economy is the only structural way to defuse the food bubble and sustain our civilization.